This is the Voyage. It's located at Holiday World in the town of Santa Claus, Indiana. Weird. It's a ride loosely themed after the voyage of the Mayflower, the ship that brought the pilgrims to the New World. Also weird. And it was designed to essentially be 3 roller coaster rides in one. Now that one sounds cool. The Voyage is weird, but it's also one of the best roller coasters in the world. It currently stands as the second longest wooden roller coaster in existence. It features over 24 seconds of that lovely weightlessness sensation we call airtime, and has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 tunnel sections. The Voyage is one hell of a ride. To understand why it's so good and make sense of everything else I just said, let's start at the beginning. What is Holiday World, and why is it in Santa Claus, Indiana? Before 1946, the small town of Santa Claus in Indiana was void of exactly the thing you'd expect to see there: Santa Claus. The area had few holiday-related activities, let alone stuff for young children. To resolve this tragic disappointment, Louis Cook decided to create just that: something to do. In 1946, he founded Santa Claus Land in Santa Claus, with a distinct emphasis on, well, Santa Claus. The park opened as a destination for families to bring their children to meet Santa, as well as visit a toy shop and restaurant and experience a few themed rides. Louis himself was a father of 9, simply searching for a worthwhile retirement project. Now, 78 years on, Santa Claus Land, known today as Holiday World, is still owned by the Cook family. Unsurprisingly, the initial park was successful. As it attracted more and more guests, Louis knew he had to expand. He was concerned about the real potential of only a Santa Claus theme. Instead of letting that hold him back, he had an idea. Why not feature more than just one American holiday? And thus, in 1984, Holiday World was born. The park was renamed to coincide with the debut of 2 new themed areas, Halloween and 4th of July, each with its own small collection of themed rides to entertain guests. Today, Holiday World is known for its impressive collection of roller coasters, but that hasn't always been the case. Before the 1990s, the park only had 2 coasters. Both were rides you could find copies of elsewhere. That would change with park president Will Cook, grandson of the original Louis. In 1994, Will decided it was time for a big roller coaster. The ride would be built in the Halloween area of the park by well-known wooden roller coaster designers Custom Coasters International, CCI. The park president didn't want any old roller coaster, however. He wanted something good. To achieve this, the park invited theme park enthusiast Tim O'Brien to tour the site. Throughout the development process, he provided feedback on the ride and made suggestions for the layout. Then, in 1995, just over a year later, The Raven opened to the public. Loosely themed to Edgar Allan Poe's story of the same name, the ride features a layout that utilizes the nearby terrain, creating a bespoke, one-of-a-kind experience. The Raven was an instant hit, so instant that the park wanted another one. So, in 2000, Holiday World once again brought in CCI to construct a new roller coaster. After the success of the Raven, they asked coaster enthusiasts from across the country to share their thoughts and feedback on the proposed ride. The park received over 200 emails, all helping to iteratively craft the final design. Then, in May of 2000, exactly 5 years after the debut of the Raven, The Legend opened to guests. Also built in the park's Halloween area, the ride was themed to The Legend of the Sleepy Hollow, a short story by Washington Irving. Just like the Raven, The Legend opened to rave reviews, quickly becoming one of the best wooden roller coasters in the country. The introduction of 2 new large-scale roller coasters at Holiday World brought with it an abundance of new guests. Since 1975, visitor numbers at the park had steadily been increasing. By 2004, roughly 880,000 people were visiting annually. This was expected to jump to 1 million by 2006. To keep up with the demand, Holiday World knew they had to expand once again. The idea? Another new holiday-themed area, this time for Thanksgiving. It would feature its own shops and restaurants, a family interactive dark ride, Gobbler's Getaway, built by the Sally Corporation, and a brand new flagship roller coaster. Once again, Holiday World turned to the humble wooden roller coaster, not just due to their past successes, but because they believed a wooden ride appeals to a broader range of guests, both thrill seekers and families alike. They had a problem though. Custom Coasters International was no longer in business. They declared bankruptcy in 2002. Fortunately, there was an alternative. Several ex-CCI employees had moved on to form their own company, the Gravity Group. In the years after CCI's demise, the Gravity Group had performed several upgrades to the Raven, including installing a new maintenance track to allow two-train operation. Therefore, Will saw them as an ideal candidate for his new ride. This is despite the fact the Gravity Group hadn't even opened a single roller coaster of their own yet. In late 2004, Will and the Gravity Group began drafting the new roller coaster's layout. From the start, he was clear about one thing. The ride had an endless budget, a blank check. Will input heavily into the ride's design to produce the best wooden roller coaster possible given the constraints of the site. Together, Holiday World and the Gravity Group decided it would be an out-and-back style ride where the train more or less travels in a straight line away from the ride station before turning around and repeating a similar journey back. This was distinctly different to the park's existing twister-style roller coasters, which utilized turns and twists to create a smaller, more condensed footprint. The Gravity Group used inspiration from two previous CCI projects. Shivering Timbers at Michigan's Adventure, with its huge airtime hills, inspired the outward portion of the ride, while the return leg took inspiration from Boulder Dash at Lake Compounds, a low-to-the-ground, fast-paced ride. The new roller coaster would sit within a relatively forested area of the park. It would climb the gradual upward slope of the terrain with huge airtime hills, dive into the wooded area over the other side of the hill, and then return by sticking as closely to the ground as possible. As you might expect, multiple other ideas were also dreamt up for the layout too. One even included a corkscrew. To produce the ride Holiday World craved, the Gravity Group had to be creative. Tunnels were first added between the large airtime hills to overcome the incline of the terrain on the outward journey, and later added on the return journey to maintain a rapid pace back down the hillside. Two 90-degree back turns were also introduced into the layout to allow for high-speed direction changes. That was set to be it, but tweaks were still being made even after the layout had been announced. The Gravity Group added a third 90-degree turn and a mid-course brake run to improve capacity. Instead of a wooden structure, a decision was also made to use steel. This would help to reduce the maintenance costs for the huge-scale ride while still mimicking the visuals of a wooden roller coaster. So, with the final design settled, all that was left was for the new area of Thanksgiving to be built at the cost of $13.5 million, $6.5 million of which was spent on the park's latest roller coaster. And on the 6th of May 2006, for the park's 60th anniversary, the Voyage opened to guests. The name of the ride, the Voyage, describes the famous voyage of the Mayflower, the ship the English settlers used to sail to North America, loosely tying it into the Thanksgiving theme. That's all well and good, but what does a ride on this roller coaster actually look like? Your ride on the Voyage begins with a stroll into the Thanksgiving land under the ride's final brake run. There, you enter the queue and head up towards the station. The train arrives with 6 cars, each of which seat 4 guests, for a total of 24 riders per train. You do up your seatbelt and pull down your lap bar. The ride begins. You dip into the lift hill and start the 49-meter, 159-foot high climb. At the top, the train passes the iconic blue, red, and yellow flags before cresting the 66-degree drop. Then, you plummet 47 meters, 154 feet, reaching the top speed of 108 kilometers per hour, 67 miles an hour. It's now time for part 1 of the ride, those huge airtime hills. You ascend the first hill, quickly followed by the second. Then arrives the first tunnel of the ride, a sharp right-hand bend, and the second tunnel. One final airtime hill marks the end of the ride's first part and the start of the second, the twister section. You dive into yet another tunnel and complete an S-hill down the other side of the hilly terrain. A large sweeping left-hand bend is followed by the ride's first 90-degree bank turn. You speed under another part of the track and complete a second 90-degree bank turn. You jolt to the left into a tunnel and ascend into the brake run, marking the end of the ride's second part. Interestingly, the mid-course brake run itself stands just 2 meters 6 feet off the ground, but an incredible 30 meters 98 feet above the station. And you're about to descend that 30 meters right now. The ride's final part, part 3, the terrain-hugging return, begins with the best tunnel yet. Concealed inside is not 1 drop, not 2 drops, but 3, all hidden in the darkness. You emerge a different person into a series of back-to-back airtime hills. Weaving between the ride's lift hill, you encounter the third and final 90-degree bank turn. Showing zero signs of slowing, the train hurtles over the base of the lift hill before diving into a tunnel beneath the station building. Another S-hill later, and you experience the 7th and last tunnel, all before a right-hand climb into the final brake run. Congratulations! You've just conquered one of the longest wooden roller coasters ever built. It's worth remembering that Holiday World initially planned to build a roller coaster suitable for families. Yeah, that one quickly went out the window. From beginning to end, the Voyage is a relentless experience. 1,946 meters, 6,442 feet of pure chaos. The main parts of the ride last for 100 seconds, 24.3 seconds of which is reserved exclusively for airtime. In fact, the Voyage opened as the steepest wooden roller coaster in North America and held the record for the most airtime on any single roller coaster in the world too. It no longer has these records, but that genuinely doesn't matter. The ride's 3-part design was ordered perfectly to create this seemingly never-ending experience. It's no surprise that it quickly became voted one of the best rides across the globe. The Voyage has also continued to change over time. After just 4 years of operation, Holiday World announced a huge development: new trains. The original 3 classic wooden coaster trains, built by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company, PTC, were to be replaced with the Gravity Group's own train design, Timberliners. These new trains were designed to steer around the track, reducing wear and tear and improving rider comfort. A prototype train was designed and tested on the Raven before 2 14-row trains would be added to the Voyage for the 2010 season. Unfortunately, things didn't go to plan. Testing overran, leading to Holiday World delaying the project until the next year. However, at this late stage of development, they had a problem. In anticipation of the new trains, the park had sold 2 of their PTC ones to a different amusement park, Darien Lake, for their ride, the Predator. To avoid running the Voyage on just one train, Holiday World decided to steal one from one of their other wooden roller coasters. Early in the 2010 season, a single train was taken from the Raven and modified for use on the Voyage. Then 2011 came, and there was still no sign of the new Timberliners. Due to the Voyage's extreme forces, the park was hesitant to introduce the new style trains without further testing. They decided to let other parks with smaller Gravity Group roller coasters test the Timberliners first. After that, the Gravity Group would refurbish Holiday World's Timberliners using the lessons they had learnt. Simple. So, the new trains were once again delayed with an anticipated launch of the start of the 2012 season. In the meantime, the park bought a new train from PTC to be used on the Voyage, allowing the Raven to have its own train back. Then, 2012 came, and guess what? No trains. The new Timberliners arrived at the park behind schedule, leaving them unable to be tested before the start of the new season. Then, 2013 arrived, this time with a big announcement. After 4 years of testing and tweaking, Holiday World had decided to not use the new Timberliner trains and instead keep their existing PTC ones. After that entire ordeal, the Voyage's original 3 7-car trains had become 2 6-car trains. Incredible. The trains aren't the only thing about the ride that has changed over time. In 2012, the Voyage received some additional track work focused on the valleys at the bottom of the first and second drops in the hopes of making them smoother. Parts of the turnaround section towards the middle of the layout also saw adjustments, including a profile modification to a turn which led to the ride gaining 0.1 seconds more airtime, bringing the measly 24.2 seconds up to a staggering 24.3 seconds. 2015, meanwhile, saw the debut of Thunderbird, the park's launched B&M wing coaster. The Voyage gained an interaction with the new roller coaster as it flew over the second valley. And most recently, in 2023, it's seen even more track work. The Gravity Group has enhanced the outward run as well as some of the layout towards the end of the ride with the new pre-cut vertical track. This new track is different. Traditional wooden coaster track is formed by placing layers of wood on top of each other, creating a stack. The Gravity Group's pre-cut track places these layers of wood next to each other. Because the wooden pieces of track are placed with their edges facing up, they're more durable. This means longer lasting track that provides a smoother ride. And that brings us to now, the present. Nearly 2 decades on, the Voyage still remains one of the best roller coasters around the globe. It consistently ranks as the second best wooden roller coaster in the Golden Ticket Awards, and was placed as the 9th best coaster in the world according to the 2023 Vote Coasters poll. There's no doubt the ride is good, but it does have a trick up its sleeve. Well, the park does. For 2 nights each year, Holiday World is home to Holiwood Nights, an exclusive enthusiast event giving you access to the park's rides at night. However, Holiday World crank it up a notch. To make the Voyage even more insane, they run the ride without the brakes on the mid-course brake run, slowing the train down. This takes what is already a fantastic ride and turns it into this ungodly roller coaster, one that is unlike anything around the globe. I should know, I got to experience it for myself only a few months ago. So there we go, that's the Voyage. Now you know about the town of Santa Claus, why it's themed to the Voyage of the Mayflower, and how the 3-part layout design makes it one of the best roller coaster experiences around. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.